I've had just a slight change of plan. Instead of trying to install the horn first of all, I'm going to install the swing arm. And this is just propped up for now. And I probably need a little bit more room, so the horn would probably be in the way. So swing arm should go back on first. I don't think it really matters, but I'm going to put it back on first. And while I'm at it, given that there's such a little room here, I'm going to insert this first left-hand side welch plug, as well as the felt cap that goes here on the left-hand side, and it's used to seal this whole side here and this side here as well. I've got some silicone as well that I'm going to seal the welch plug with. Alright, so here we go. These have been soaking in this oil for quite some time. They just sit down in there, and I'm going to fill this all up with oil once the spindle's in. I bought a syringe, a medical supply syringe that I'm going to use. Here's the welch plug. And the secret is not to flatten this out too much. You can see it's concave. That would have been the way to seal this in the past. You kind of put the cap in and give it a tap that expands this outer diameter and creates the seal. But I bought some silicone, and you know, big special thanks to Fred and Ella Eaton from OldBritts. I've read their article several times. It's just a great article on how to do this. I thought that was probably the best way to handle it. That's it. Don't particularly like that. Not too happy with this. It's narrower at that side than this side. That's it. That took a lot more force than I expected, actually. I probably sealed it in just tapping that down. It's a very, very tight fit, which is fine. I mean, it needs to be oil tight, so just go around the perimeter. One in the middle for good luck. I think that's that side done. Yeah. It was a bigger job than I expected. I thought it would just sort of like press in, but I suppose that was, you know, inappropriate, because it does really need to get in there and create a really good seal. So anyway, that's one half done. Hope I did the right half. And as I feel in underneath there, I can feel that felt wick is right up to the lip. Great. I'll clean that all up because I'm going to put some silicone in there. Next I'm going to take one of these long felt wicks, and they go into the swing arm spindle itself. Kind of got to screw them in. They're a little saturated, of course, with oil, and it's not going in as quite as easy as I thought, but of course again it's a nice sort of a press fit. I may possibly have squeezed all the oil out of this by the time it's in. Try not to damage it. Ah, yes. Got it. Well, that was easier once I got the technique better. Basically took a large socket that fit just inside the swing arm cavity, and it pushed everything consistently on this welch plug into the cavity, and everything's much better on this side. And the gold adds a little bling. It was silver before, you know, like an alloy piece. So I'm just cleaning this off in preparation for the silicone solution that's going to go in there. Pushing it into the recesses here and just trying to tidy it up a little bit. It will settle, I think, overnight. Hopefully it won't drop, but also want it to look reasonably decent as well, although it's tucked away. Before I go any further, I thought I might like to show you the travel, or hopefully the lack of travel, on the swing arm now that the new spindle is fitted with new bushes and new seals as well. And it's quite significant. Even without the split collar, I think this will probably suffice. Just bearing in mind I do have that centre bolt through, but I haven't actually tightened it yet. It's just kind of finger loose. But if you hear that, that's just kind of a squelching sound that the seals are making. But it doesn't move at all. I'm sure there's a more sophisticated way to show this, but I've just taped a spoke onto the end of the swing arm just to give you a sense of how much travel there is as I move it from side to side. Very little movement, just that squelching again with the seals. I'm trying harder now. You know, maybe a little bit. I'm actually probably moving the whole engine there. And then up and down, of course, is great. That was never a problem. So yeah, very successful. I'm really happy with this job, with this project, and then continue to put everything back together again. And the next job will be to finally fit the split collars around that spindle, and then remove that centre bolt as well, just temporarily, while I fill up that spindle with oil. Yeah, I'm definitely glad I bought those shorter screws. You can see that they're really pretty tight in there, and I haven't tightened these ones up, by the way. And I've also got a locking washer on there as well, but that's about exactly the right place that I need this to be. The length of the bolt, so that it goes up against the spindle on the inside, but it also fastens up against that split collar. Solid. And I'm just going to try and move the swing arm again from left to right with the split collar system installed now firmly. That's it, hopefully permanently. It doesn't move at all. I mean, it's probably the same, if not maybe slightly better than before. There's no squelching sound, which sort of implies that it's even tighter than it was. I mean, I'm pulling pretty tightly there, pretty firmly, I should say. And that's just my wrist moving. That's not the swing arm moving. So I would say that was successful. The next job will be to get some oil in that spindle, so I'm going to remove that centre bolt and then start pumping in some SAE 140 oil, not grease as some folks may think, especially when they see the grease nipples on those welch caps on the earlier models. But it is not grease, it's oil, and the reason is because of the bushes, those bronze bushes on the inside. They absorb the oil and then release it over time. So the challenge will be to actually squeeze the oil in through that top hole where the bolt is, and also not blowing out those welch plugs at the other side, at both sides, but I doubt it. They're in there pretty firmly. We're going to put the patient on an intravenous drip. Hopefully gravity will do most of this, but yeah, I may need to hold that. Here we go. I'm not pushing hard at all on this hydraulic action. Okay, I think that's done it. The oil is actually pouring out, well, coming out of the drain plug here, this top plug here, which I think, you know, I've read it's like the oil level plug as well, so I'm not sure, but I think that's as full as I can get it, and it's hard to measure how much I used. I would say about 10 milliliters, I think, according to the syringe, but I've lost quite a bit over the side and down the side, so maybe even less than that, maybe 5 to 7 milliliters that have gone inside. Yeah, the fact that the oil weeps out when I try and put this bolt in is a good indicator that we're full in there. Plus the wicks were full of oil as well, and well, for the most part, and hopefully they've saturated some of this. What I might do is overnight I might just let that settle and then maybe squeeze a little bit more in the morning, once that's leveled out, and jiggle around a little bit. That's smoother. Maybe not. It does actually feel smoother.